Thunder ripped across the sky, shaking the roofs of Makori. In the village square, the sacred drum sat soaked and shivering. Kato's hands hovered above it, trembling. "Play!" someone screamed. "Do something!" Voices rose from every corner. "The cloud is black! The ancestors are angry!" Kato struck the drum. The sound came out weak, empty. He tried again. The rhythm broke. "It's not working!" Across the square, Mira's voice cut through the storm. "Kato, stop!" A man spun toward her. "You! Ever since you came, the sky turned against us. She brought this curse. Send her away." Elder Jaro stepped forward. "The ancestors have spoken. The drum rejects him." Lightning split the sky. 1 week earlier, none of this had happened yet. The sky had been clear. The drum had still sung. And Mira had not yet taken her first step into Makori. They say every drum in Makori has a heartbeat. And when that heartbeat lies, the sky learns how to grow angry. But that week, the anger of the sky did not begin with thunder. It began in a small, smoky hut with old men and old fears. Inside the elder's hut, a fire cracked quietly, throwing shadows on wrinkled faces. The air smelled of wood smoke and herbs, and something heavier: worry. Elder Bala spoke first, his voice rough from years of calling meetings. "The drum is silent. Bako is gone. We must choose again." He didn't have to say who Bako was. Everyone in Makori knew. For 50 years, old Bako had been the sacred drummer. He had called rain with rhythm, comforted widows with gentle beats, and guided souls to the ancestors with soft, steady hands. Elder Kamau rubbed his jaw. "The festival of the drum is almost here. We cannot greet the other villagers with an empty stand where the drum should be." Another elder shook his head. "We need someone strong. Someone who won't tremble in front of the people." Jaro, younger than the rest but with eyes like a sharp knife, leaned forward. "Then choose a man of discipline. Not these soft-hearted boys who drift like smoke. The drum requires a spine, not a dreamer." In the corner, an old woman shifted slightly. Mama Sefu. She wasn't officially part of the council, but nobody told her to leave. Wisdom sometimes walks in old bones, and Makori knew that. She stared at the fire for a long moment before she spoke. "Before he died, Bako came to me." The elders looked up. "He said, 'When I leave, the drum will not stay empty. It has already chosen the boy under the baobab.'" The hut fell silent. "The boy under the baobab," Kamal repeated. "He meant Kato." Jaro's lip curled. "Kato, the boy who loses himself whenever he touches a drum. He closes his eyes and floats away. That is who the ancestors want." Bala frowned. "Prophecy is not a thing we twist to fit our comfort, Jaro." "Prophecy can be misheard," Jaro shot back. "Bako was dying. Maybe his mind wandered." Mama Sefu's eyes flashed. "His mind was clearer than yours will ever be." Jaro stiffened. "I fear incompetence, not prophecy. The festival is coming. If that boy fails in front of the whole valley, Makori will be mocked. And if we disobey the ancestors," she replied, "Makori will be cursed." The fire popped between them, sending a spray of sparks upward. Bala sighed, heavy and tired. Send for the boy. If the ancestors named him, we cannot ignore it. A young messenger slipped out of the hut and ran into the sunlight. Under the shade of the great baobab tree, Kato sat with a small drum between his knees, surrounded by children. Not like that, Kato said gently to a little boy whose hands were slapping the drum like he was fighting it. You're attacking it. The boy frowned. But you said I should play louder. Louder doesn't mean angry, Kato replied. Put your hand here. He placed the boy's small palm over his chest. You feel that, my heart? Yes, that's the first drum. Follow that.
The boy closed his eyes, concentrating. His little hand moved more softly. The sound was clumsy, but it had a shape. Kato smiled. Better. A girl raised her hand. Kato, did old Bako teach you like this? Kato's smile faded slightly. He taught me many things. Mostly, he taught me to listen. Before he could say more, the chief's messenger ran toward them. Kato, the boy gasped. The elders, they want you. Now! The children looked at each other with wide eyes. Did you do something wrong? Maybe they want you to drum at a big ceremony. No, his face looks afraid. I think it's serious. Kato wiped his hands on his cloth, trying to slow his racing heart. Watch the drum, he told the children. Don't drop it. He followed the messenger back through the village, past curious eyes and murmured guesses, until they reached the elder's hut. Inside, the smoke seemed thicker than usual. The elder stared at him as he stepped in. You call for me? Kato asked quietly. Come closer, son, Bala said. Kato moved closer to the fire, feeling its heat on his skin. The old drummer named you before he died, Bala said. He said the drum has chosen you to carry its voice. Kato's breath caught. Me? He whispered. But I only play to feel peace. Jaro snorted. Peace is for children and old men. The sacred drum is for those who can stand when others fall. I don't know if I can stand, Kato admitted. You do not need to know, Mama Sefu said, her voice softer. You only need to listen. The drum will tell you what it needs if your heart is honest. Kato looked down at his hands. I didn't ask to be chosen, and yet you were, she answered. There was a long pause. The fire cracked. Finally, Kato lifted his eyes. If the ancestors truly chose me, I will not refuse them. Bala nodded. He lifted a string of carved beads, old and worn from years around Bako's neck. Then, from today, you are the drummer of Makori. The beads were heavy and cool as he placed them around Kato's neck. For a moment, Kato felt like the floor had dropped away beneath him. Jaro leaned back, arms crossed. Let us all hope, he muttered, that the ancestors know what they're doing. Far across the sea, an Indian filmmaker named Meera Kapoor was preparing her next documentary. Meera was a woman of gentle confidence, with sharp eyes and steady hands. She had the soul of a storyteller, always searching for the rhythm behind every culture, every face, every moment. She had traveled the world, capturing traditions fading with time, and her next journey led her to a place almost no one on her map had heard of, Makori. Her jeep rolled along a dusty road and finally coughed its way into the village. Children ran beside the vehicle. Auntie! Auntie! They shouted. You've brought a car that coughs! Meera laughed. He's just tired, she said, patting the dashboard. We've been on the road a long time. The driver parked in the center of the village. Meera stepped out, stretching her stiff legs. Heat wrapped around her like a blanket. Women watched from doorways, whispering. She's from far, one murmured. Look at the thing on her neck, another said. Is that the magic glass? She's small, a third added. But her eyes are sharp. Meera smiled and waved. Hello, she said. Namaste. I'm Meera. I came for the festival of the drum. I'm making a film.
An older woman with strong shoulders stepped forward. "You want to point that eye at our drum?" she asked, nodding at the camera. Mira glanced at it, then back at her. "I want the world to see your drum, to hear it, before the world forgets it." "The world already forgot us," the woman replied. Then, after a moment, she added, "But you came. That is something." Mira opened her mouth to respond, but a sound cut across the square. A drum. Not loud, not wild, just steady, confident, like a heart that knew exactly what it was doing. Mira turned toward the sound. "What's that?" she whispered. One of the women followed her gaze. "The baobab, the new drummer." "The boy under the baobab," another murmured. "The one the ancestors chose." The rhythm tugged at Mira's chest, like someone pulling gently on a thread tied to her heart. "Can I go there?" "The tree belongs to everyone," the strong-shouldered woman said. "But the drum doesn't like disrespect. Go with a quiet spirit." Mira nodded. "I'll try," she said. She followed the sound through narrow paths between huts, past drying clothes and curious eyes, until the baobab came into view. Under its branches sat Cato, beads around his neck, the sacred drum between his knees. His eyes were closed, his head tilted, fingers moving with relaxed precision. Mira stopped at the edge of the shade. Her hand moved automatically to her camera, then stopped. Not yet. She let the strap rest against her neck and just listened. The drum stopped. Cato opened his eyes, their eyes locked. For a strange moment, everything else fell away. The children, the tree, the huts, the long road behind her. There was only his surprised stillness and her held breath. He tipped his head a little. "You heard the drum before you saw me," he said quietly. Mira blinked. Yes, I felt it." Some of the children turned toward her, whispering. A man standing nearby frowned. "She shouldn't stand so close to the sacred drum. Strangers bring strange things," someone else added. Cato's gaze flicked toward the voices, then back to her. "Sit if you want, but don't record yet. Just listen." Mira swallowed, then nodded. "Okay," she said softly. She stepped forward, sat cross-legged on the ground a little distance away, and placed her camera in her lap. "Thank you." Cato placed his hands back on the drum. "This drum carries the voices of our ancestors. If your heart is too loud, you won't hear them." Mira let out a quiet breath. "My heart is always loud, talking to itself." "Then maybe this will help," he replied. He started to play again. Mira closed her eyes and let the sound wrap around her. For once, she wasn't planning her next shot or thinking about subtitles. She was just there, listening. That night, Makori glowed with firelight. Drums of all sizes came out, joining in a layered rhythm that made the air vibrate. Mira sat among the women, balancing a bowl of stew on her lap. Mama Seifu shuffled over and lowered herself beside her with a grunt. "Eat, daughter of the road. The ancestors are watching you. If they don't like you, you will know." Mira looked up sharply. "How? You will not sleep," the old woman replied simply. "But you will still be here tomorrow. So eat. Worry later." Mira laughed nervously. "Yes, Mama." Across the fire, Cato sat with some of the younger men, but his eyes kept drifting toward her. A friend noticed and smirked. "Your eyes are not here," the friend whispered. "They are sitting with the stranger." "Shut up," Cato muttered, but the color in his cheeks betrayed him. Later, as the night thinned and people drifted back to their huts, Mira stood, stretching her legs, camera slung around her neck. "You will stay for the festival?" She turned. Cato was there, hands folded awkwardly. "That's the plan," she said. "Unless your elders decide to throw me out." "That depends," he replied. "On what?" she asked. "On whether the ancestors like your questions," he said, a small smile tugging at his mouth. "And you?" she asked. "Do you like my questions?" He met her gaze.
I like that you listened before you started asking. Most people don't. She felt a warm flutter in her chest. Well, she replied softly, I accept you as my official drum teacher. He raised an eyebrow. Did I apply? You were chosen, she said. Prophecy. Didn't you hear? He laughed quietly, a sound that surprised even him. Not far away, half hidden by shadows, Elder Jaro watched them with narrowed eyes. Look at him, he said to Kamau. Already his heart is split. He's just talking, Kamau replied. He's human. He is the sacred drummer, Jaro snapped. He doesn't have the luxury of being just human. The first sign that something was wrong appeared the next afternoon. Children were playing in the square when one of them tugged on his mother's wrapper. Mama, why is that cloud black? She glanced up, then looked again more carefully. Above Makori, a single dark cloud hung in a perfect blue sky. Not the gray of normal rain. Black, heavy, like smoke that refused to move. Go inside, she said quickly. Now. Word traveled fast. The black cloud, someone breathed. Not again. What have we done this time? Another whispered. Mama Sifu stepped out of her hut and stared at the sky. The black cloud does not come for no reason, she murmured. It comes when something in the village is untrue. By evening, the wind had picked up. The cloud grew, stretching its shadow over the fields. At night, the storm broke, the sky tore open, thunder hammered the valley. Rain came in sheets, slanting sideways with the force of the wind. Rooftops shook. The drum, someone yelled. Bring the sacred drum. Call Kato. Men lifted the heavy drum and carried it to the middle of the square. Under the raging sky, it looked suddenly small. Kato stumbled into the storm, clothes plastered to his skin, hair drenched. His eyes were wide. Kato! Bala grabbed his arm. Now! Calm the sky! Kato stared at the drum. It stared back, mute and cold. His fingers shook as he touched it. He struck once, thin, swallowed. He tried again. Every rhythm slipped away, smothered by thunder. It's not working, someone screamed. He cannot hear the ancestors. The drum is rejecting him. And then, as fear thickened, it turned. This started when she came, a woman shouted, pointing at Mira. Ever since the foreigner arrived with her glass eye, nothing has been normal. A man nodded. She distracted him. The drummer's heart belongs to the ancestors, not to some stranger from far away. I didn't call this storm, she shouted. I didn't touch your drum. Please, listen to me. But the storm roared louder, as if agreeing with the crowd. The drum fell silent. By dawn, the fields were flooded, huts damaged, and Makori shaken to its bones. Kato stood alone under the baobab the next day, staring at the drum. He hadn't touched it since the storm. Mira approached slowly. I'm sorry, she said quietly. He turned his head. For what? He asked. For being here, she replied. For whatever they think I did. You didn't call the storm, Kato said. It's older than you. Older than me. They look at me like I dragged it behind my jeep, she murmured. The people are afraid, he said. Fear makes the wrong things easy to believe. Mira swallowed. I'm thinking of leaving after the festival. Maybe my film isn't worth all this. Before he could answer, another voice slipped between them. If you leave now, Nia said, stepping into view, the people who are lying will win. Nia, the chief's daughter, stood with her chin raised, eyes bright. Mira frowned. What do you mean, lying? Nia glanced around, checking the shadows. You really think the ancestors punished us because you smiled at our drummer? She asked. Or because he talked to you under a tree? What else would it be? Mira asked. Power,
Nia said, and fear of losing it. Kato looked at her, uneasy. You think this is about the elders? He asked. Some of them, Nia said. Not all, but I've seen the way Jaro looks at you. And at the drum. She turned to Mira.
You came here with a camera, she said. You want to show the world our truth. But truth makes some people nervous. Mira's jaw tightened. I'm starting to see that, she said. He failed, Jaro said. You saw it. The drum refused him. Bala sat heavily. It was a bad storm, he said. Even Bako struggled some years. Jaro leaned in. You want Makori to become a laughing stock? He demanded. At the festival, all the villagers will see a drummer who cannot calm a simple storm. Simple? Mama Sefu scoffed. You call that storm simple? The black cloud came, Jaro. You know what that means. Yes, he said quietly. It means something in Makori is wrong. His gaze slid toward the door. And when something is wrong, he went on, we remove it for the good of the village. Bala frowned. What do you suggest? He asked. At the festival, Jaro said slowly. We test him in front of everyone. If he fails again, then the people will see that the ancestors have rejected him. And then what? Kamau asked. Then we pass the drum to someone who won't bring shame on us, Jaro said. Someone ready. Someone like Jabari. The drum is not a costume you pass between sons at a naming ceremony, Mama Sefu snapped. It chooses, not you. The drum will speak, Jaro replied. We will simply give it the chance. Later, when the hut was empty, he found Jabari practicing alone. You want the sacred drum? Jaro asked quietly. Jabari's jaw clenched. I want Makori to have a drummer it can trust, he said. Then help me show them, Jaro said. 2 nights before the festival, when most of the village slept and the moon hid behind thin clouds, Mira lay awake. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the storm, the accusations, Kato's face when the drum went dead. Finally, she slipped outside into the cool darkness. The village was soft with crickets and distant snores as she walked toward the drum hut. But as she got closer, she heard voices. She moved into the shadows and peered around the corner. Inside, a lantern burned low. Jaro knelt beside the sacred drum. Jabari stood over him, tense. Loosen the bindings, Jaro whispered. Not too much, just enough. Jabari hesitated. If someone finds out, no one will, Jaro snapped. When it fails, they'll all be too busy blaming Kato and the foreigner. Jabari swallowed. And this? He asked, lifting a small pouch. Rub it inside the drum, Jaro said. It will eat the voice. He'll strike it and it will sound dead. Then the people will know. Know what? Jabari asked quietly. That he was a mistake, Jaro said, and that the ancestors demand a new drummer. Mira's heart hammered. She pressed her back against the wall, barely breathing. A hand touched her shoulder. She almost screamed, but a palm covered her mouth. It's me, Nia whispered. Don't shout. Mira's wide eyes turned to her. Nia lowered her hand. They are sabotaging the drum, Mira hissed. They're going to make him fail. I know, Nia whispered. I suspected. Now we've heard it. Then we go in there. We stop them. We tell everyone right now. Stop them and stand in the square screaming that the elders are liars? Nia asked. The same people who already think you cursed the drum? If we accuse them now, with nothing the whole village can see, Nia said, they'll turn on us completely.
You'll be chased out before sunrise." "So we do nothing?" Mira asked. "We wait," Nia said grimly. "We wait for the sky to speak, and when it does, we speak with it." The day of the festival of the drum arrived with a heavy stillness. Makori dressed itself in color. Women tied bright cloths around their waists. Men stepped out in their best outfits, children buzzing with nervous energy. Visitors from nearby villages poured in, carrying gifts and curious eyes. The sacred drum was carried to the center of the square, polished and powerful, its wounded voice hidden. Above, the black clouds sat like a stain on the sky. Mira stood at the edge of the square, camera ready, heart racing. Every time she looked at the drum, she saw Jaro's hands on it in the dark. Kato stood near the elders, beads around his neck, shoulders tight. He looked like a man walking into a test he hadn't chosen. The king, robed and serious, stepped forward. "Today," he announced, "we celebrate the festival of the drum. We ask the ancestors to bless our fields, our children, our future." He turned to Kato. "And today," he added, "our drummer will show them his heart." Bala's voice followed. "Kato, son of Makori, come to the drum." Kato walked forward. Every eye in the square followed him. He set his hands on the sacred drum. The skin felt wrong beneath his palms, dull, heavy. He glanced up at the cloud. Then he struck. Once, twice. The sound that came was a horror, flat, lifeless, like the drum had been hollowed out. Gasps tore through the crowd. "He's lost it," someone breathed. "The ancestors don't know him. The drum is dead." Kato's heart pounded. He struck again, desperate. Nothing. Jaro stepped forward, voice loud. "You see?" he shouted. "The drum rejects him. We warned you. Since the stranger came, his heart has been divided. The ancestors have turned away." The murmurs grew, fear and anger mixing like storm clouds. Mira couldn't hold it anymore. "That's not true!" she shouted, forcing her way into the open. "Kato didn't fail the drum. Someone tampered with it." Heads snapped toward her. "You again," a man spat. "You dare speak?" "I heard them," Mira cried, pointing at Jaro and Jabari. "2 nights ago, at the drum hut, I heard them loosening it, putting something inside. They wanted him to fail." "Lies," Jaro thundered. "This outsider comes here, doesn't understand our ways, and now accuses the elders of treachery." "It's not a lie," Mira said, voice shaking. "Nia was there too." Jaro's eyes flashed. "Your tongue is dangerous," he snarled. "You bring storms and slander." Before he could say more, Mama Sefu stepped into the circle, leaning on her stick. "The black cloud does not come for strangers," she said. "It comes for lies." The murmuring dimmed. "Years ago, it came when elders hid food while children starved," she said. "It came when those in power used the drum to silence hunger instead of feeding it." Her eyes locked onto Jaro. "And it comes again now," she went on, "because someone has tried to bend the drum to their own will." "That's enough," Jaro snapped. "Old woman, you—" "Did you touch the drum, Jaro?" Mama Sefu asked, soft but razor sharp. "Did you and Jabari go to the drum hut at night?" All eyes swung to Jabari. His face had gone pale. "Answer," the king said. Jabari's lips parted. Nothing came out. Sweat rolled down his temple. Nia stepped forward. I heard them, she said. I was there, hidden. I heard him say, "Make the drum fail, and the boy will fall with it." Gasps spread through the crowd like fire. Jaro's composure cracked. "You ungrateful child," he snarled. "I have served your father longer than—" "And you served yourself even longer," Mama Sefu snapped. The king's face hardened. "Is it true?" he asked Jabari. "Did you touch the drum?" Jabari's shoulders sagged. I did what he asked," he whispered. Silence fell, heavy and full. "You blamed this boy," Mama Sefu said, pointing at Kato, "and this woman for a storm your own lies invited." Jaro's jaw clenched. "I did what was necessary," he said. "He was weak. Makori needs truth," the king said, "not elders who poison the drum to protect their pride." He turned fully to Jaro. "From today," he said, "you are stripped of your position. You will live as a common man. You will not speak for the ancestors again. They will judge you in their own time." Two men moved beside Jaro. He almost protested, then swallowed it, pride and fear fighting in his eyes. Kato stood frozen, hands still hovering near the dead drum.
"If this drum has been touched with lies," he said quietly, "then it no longer speaks for Makori." He stepped back. Mama Sefu moved toward him, carrying something wrapped in cloth. "Then use this," she said. "The drum of your grandfather, kept safe, untouched." She unwrapped it, a smaller, older drum, worn smooth but clean. "The ancestors still hear through this," she said. Kato took it with trembling hands. He looked at Mira. "I have to do this," he murmured. "You don't have to do it alone," she replied. He swallowed. "Play with me." Her eyes widened. I don't know your rhythms." "The drum knew you before I did. You heard it before you saw me." "That means something." She hesitated, then moved to kneel opposite him. They set the drum between them. The square went quiet. Above, the black cloud churned, restless. Kato set his hands on the drum. Mira copied him. "Follow me," he said, "and follow your heart." He started with a simple beat, 1-2, 1-2, the most basic rhythm he knew. Mira followed, a little off at first, then closer. Their hands began to find each other. The sound that came out was warm, clear, alive. A child clapped along. Another joined. Nia began to hum, low and sure. Mama Sefu closed her eyes and started to chant words older than all of them. The rhythm grew stronger, not fancy, just honest. The wind shifted. The black cloud trembled. Lightning flickered inside it like something pacing in a cage. The drum spoke, of fear exposed, lies dragged into the light, hearts choosing truth even when they were shaking. The cloud started to thin at the edges. Villagers watched, silent now. Even the visitors forgot to whisper. The drumbeat rolled through the square, over the houses, across the fields. The cloud split once, then again. A shaft of sunlight broke through, landing in the center of the square. The rain stopped. The cloud shredded, pulled apart into gray wisps, then disappeared. The sky above Makori turned a clear, impossible blue. The drum slowed, stopped. Nobody moved. Then someone laughed. Someone else sobbed. A child shouted, "Look! The sky is happy again!" The king stepped forward, voice softer now. The ancestors listened. They saw the truth.
He turned to Kato. You stood when we doubted you. Then to Mira. You spoke when it was dangerous to speak. He looked around the square. Let today be remembered, not as the day we almost lost our drummer, but as the day we almost lost our honesty and chose not to. That evening, the festival continued, not as a grand show, but as a quiet celebration that they had survived something deeper than a storm. Mira sat under the baobab tree, her camera beside her, untouched. Kato dropped down beside her with a tired sigh. You look exhausted, she said. I feel like that drum, he replied, played too long by too many hands. They believed in you in the end, she said. He shook his head. They believed the sky, he said. I just tried to follow it. She smiled faintly. That's what a drummer is, isn't it? Someone who listens to what the sky is saying and helps everyone else hear it. He looked at her. You're leaving, he said quietly. She nodded. I have to. I came to tell a story. I think I have one now. He looked down at his hands. I thought I would be angry at you, he admitted, for bringing all this trouble, for making things complicated. And now? She asked. Now I see you didn't bring the storm, he said. You just refused to pretend it wasn't there. She let out a small laugh. That sounds like something my YouTube comments will argue about, she said. I don't know what that means, he replied. You don't need to, she said. Just keep the drum honest. They sat in silence for a moment. Then, at least wait until tomorrow, he said. Let Makori say a proper goodbye.
One more night, she said. The next morning, the jeep waited at the edge of the village, dust swirling gently around its tires. Mira stood beside it, saying goodbye to the children. Will you come back? One of them asked, clutching her hand. If Kato keeps playing, I'll hear it from far away, and I'll find my way back. Kato approached, holding a small drum. This is for you, he said. She stared. I can't take your drum. It's not the sacred one, he replied. It's one I used when I was younger, before Bako put beads around my neck and made my life complicated. She laughed softly. Are you sure? Maybe when you hear it, he said, you'll remember that Makori wasn't only storms and shouting. There was music too. She took it gently. I'll tell your story. She climbed into the jeep. The engine coughed to life. The children ran alongside for a few steps, then slowed, waving until the dust swallowed the car. Kato stood there until the road was empty. Then he turned, walked back under the baobab tree, sat down, and placed the drum between his knees. He began to play. They say in Makori that from that day, the festival of the drum changed. The songs stayed the same, but the hearts behind them didn't. And far away, in a city lit by screens instead of stars, an Indian lady sat late at night, headphones on, editing footage of a boy under a baobab and a black cloud that broke. Before this chapter closes, think about this. If you were Mira, would you come back to Makori after everything that happened? If you were Kato, would you trust an outsider again? Or keep your heart for the ancestors alone? Tell your answer in the comments. If the story touched you, please hit like so it travels further, and subscribe so you don't miss what the ancestors reveal next. And if you want to hear what happens when Mira returns, when her film goes live and Makori's story reaches the world, type "We want part 2" so the ancestors know the story must continue. They say, a year later,
Another drum began to beat across the sea. But that is a story for another day.